Hello again, Steven. We are talking about Star Wars, and I am so excited. I love talking about Star Wars, so let's just roll the intro so that we can go right into it. The reason we're talking about Star Wars today is because the 9th installment of the Star Wars series, The Rise of Skywalker, comes out in a couple of weeks. And somehow, in some crazy, twisted world, we have arrived at a point where I am not excited about a Star Wars movie. And so today we're going to be kind of diving in and trying to figure out exactly why that is. What changed with the Star Wars series such that it turned me off of Star Wars and made me not excited about new movies. So let's go back in time a little bit. 1999, the week that Star Wars The Phantom Menace was released on video was the week that I saw Star Wars for the first time. From that point on, I was obsessed with Star Wars. I came home, watched the original trilogy, 2002 rolled around, and you and I went and saw episode 2 together, and 2005 came and we saw episode 3 together. I still have a distinct memory of being at the Star World Theater together, opening weekend, episode 3, where you and I ran up to the balcony to get the best seats in the auditorium. We were so into everything Star Wars back then. And so if you had told me back in 2005 that in a decade or so, they would be revamping the Star Wars genre, that there would be new movies coming out, I would have been beyond elated. At the time when Revenge of the Sith came out, that was it for Star Wars. There were no more movies on the horizon. And then Disney bought Star Wars and said they were going to be making a new trilogy in addition to a bunch of different spin-off Star Wars movies. And naturally, when that news came out, I was excited, which kind of dispels my first theory. I mean, the first theory would be maybe I'm not excited about the Star Wars movies because I'm older than I was back then. Maybe just over the years, I've outgrown Star Wars, but I don't think that's it, because when they announced The Force Awakens, I was extremely excited that there were going to be more Star Wars movies. So following the announcement of the new Star Wars movies, they said that this trilogy was going to follow the events of episodes 4, 5, and 6. And having read so many of the books, I was really excited to see what aspect of the extended universe that they would talk about. There were so many possibilities, and then Disney announced that they were going to basically obliterate the extended universe. They said the new trilogy was going to be completely original and all books that had been written up to that point were no longer canon. 40 years of books that you're just going to say is not real? That was the first red flag that this wasn't going to go exactly how a true Star Wars fan would want it to go. But we moved past that. They said George Lucas would not be writing nor directing these movies, and the first movie coming out was going to be directed by J.J. Abrams. Criticisms aside, I like J.J. Abrams. I like a lot of the stuff that he's done. So episode 7, The Force Awakens comes out, we go to the theater and we see it, and we come out of the theater and we say, that was episode 4. You're talking about a Force-sensitive, rural, middle-of-nowhere desert dweller, comes in contact with a droid, then teams up with a blaster junkie, a Wookiee, and an old guy, and is off into space to fight the bad guys. And the bad guys are a huge organization that wants to take over the galaxy, led by a Sith with a red lightsaber all dressed in black, and overseen by some creepy, behind-the-scenes Sith Lord kind of dude. And not only that, but the bad guys have this huge super weapon capable of mass destruction that the good guys, the rebellion, has to destroy. The movie itself, I like, but you're telling me that they ignored and did away with all of the amazing stories and characters created in the extended universe just so that they could put forth a story that's an exact copy of the original movies. Regardless of whether I actually liked the movie or not, the fact that they copied that story, I just, So then episode 8, and I didn't think it could get any worse. We have a new team this time. It's written and directed by Rian Johnson. If episode 7 was just a copy of Star Wars, episode 8, I feel like I didn't even watch a Star Wars movie. So much of the movie was just bad attempts at humor. Star Wars can be funny, but it is usually not just wacky silly. On top of all of that, he took all of this lore about the Jedi and the Force and everything and made up his own version of this. I only watched the movie that one time in the theater, and I just watched it this past week knowing that I was going to be making this video, so I thought maybe I should rewatch it, and it was just as bad the second viewing. The reason that the Star Wars genre was so successful is not because out of it came the most incredible movies. People who talk about George Lucas do not talk about how he is amazing at setting up a shot like Martin Scorsese, or how he is amazing at writing dialogue like Quentin Tarantino. What George Lucas is amazing at is creating stories, creating worlds. He created the Star Wars universe and made an incredible story within that universe. That's why his movies have such a passionate fan base. And although this is a huge world to draw material from, all of the stories that George Lucas told felt consistent. A lot of the books from the extended universe felt consistent. Rian Johnson's episode 8 movie within this world did not feel like it belonged in the Star Wars universe. I'm not going to get into the other movies right now simply because I don't have time. So yeah, the new movie comes out in a couple weeks, and I'm not excited about it, but I'm still going to go see it. I just want to see something that feels like it belongs in the Star Wars genre. Steven, I would love to hear your opinions because I know that you have thoughts on this as well. But in the meantime, that's all I have for today, so I will talk to you later. Bye.